curious, engaging tone. A long exposure of the night sky captures a mechanical truth. As Earth rotates, celestial bodies drag across the sky in massive, sweeping arcs. But if you look closely at the northern hemisphere, you'll find one glaring exception. A single fixed point of light sits perfectly still while the entire universe seems to spin around it, the pole star. In ancient Hindu astronomy, this unshakable anchor is called the Dhruva Nakshatra. For thousands of years, it has served as the ultimate symbol of absolute reliability and steadfastness. You might expect the mythology behind an immovable cosmic pillar to involve warring gods, massive celestial collisions, or ancient titans. The actual story involves a 5-year-old boy crying because he wasn't allowed to sit on his father's lap. How does an exiled, powerless child generate enough spiritual mass to become the literal center of the heavens? The answer reveals how absolute resolve can outmatch physical might. To understand that resolve, we have to look at the royal hierarchy in the court of King Uttanapada. The king had 2 wives, but a very clear favorite. He showered Queen Suruchi with attention and almost entirely neglected his other wife, Suniti. One day, Suniti's 5-year-old son, Dhruva, walked into the royal assembly. Seeing his father, he cheerfully tried to climb into the king's lap, a simple request for affection and a universal symbol of his legitimacy in the royal lineage. Before he could, Queen Suruchi intercepted him. In front of the entire court, she coldly told the boy that the only way he would ever sit on that throne was if he died and was reborn from her own womb. The king watched this happen and sat paralyzed in total silence. Heartbroken, Dhruva ran crying to his mother. Suniti didn't tell him to plot revenge or try to win back his father's favor. Instead, she offered him a different path. She told him that true, eternal refuge doesn't come from a silent king, but from the creator himself, Lord Vishnu. Dhruva listened. He stopped fighting for scraps of approval from the people who humiliated him. By turning his attention away from court politics and aiming for a much higher purpose, he elevated himself above the original insult. At 5 years old, Dhruva walked out of the palace and deep into the dangerous Madhuvan forest to begin Tapas, a practice of severe, targeted spiritual discipline. On his way, he was intercepted by the wandering sage Narada. Narada looked at the tiny boy and tried to send him home, warning him that surviving the forest was hard enough, let alone mastering deep meditation at his age. Dhruva calmly bowed and refused to turn back. Recognizing the boy's unbreakable willpower, Narada gave him a tool, a sacred 12-syllable mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and instructed him to repeat it constantly. This chart shows Dhruva's physical intake plotted against his time in the forest, illustrating a sharp downward curve. During the first month, he survived entirely on fallen fruits. By month 2, the line drops as he restricts himself to eating only dead leaves. By month 3, he consumed only water. In the 4th month, he subsisted entirely on the air he breathed. By the 5th month, the intake hits absolute zero. Dhruva stood completely motionless on a single leg, his mind locked exclusively on Lord Vishnu. According to the texts, his concentration became so dense that it began sending physical shockwaves through all 3 realms of existence, terrifying the celestial beings. To stop the trembling of the universe, Lord Vishnu descended from the heavens. He appeared before the boy and gently brought him out of his trance by touching his forehead with his divine conch. Vishnu offered the boy any wish in the universe. But months of intense discipline had burned away Dhruva's worldly attachments. Standing before the Creator, he no longer cared about a wooden throne. He asked only that his devotion remain eternal. This is the mechanical reality of Tapas. It strips away the ego, leaving only pure, concentrated intent. Dhruva forced the universe to answer him simply by refusing to yield. Vishnu smiled and issued a dual decree. Dhruva would return to his kingdom to rule a long, prosperous life on earth. Once that mortal life ended, he would be elevated to the highest unmoving point in the cosmos. When Dhruva walked out of the forest, he didn't return with a desire for vengeance. His father wept and begged for forgiveness. His stepmother confessed her cruelty. Dhruva embraced them both, prioritizing grace over retribution. Over his reign, he governed his people strictly through truth and Dharma. By healing his fractured family and ruling with justice, he proved his spiritual maturity. When his time on earth concluded, Vishnu's promise was fulfilled. Dhruva ascended to the heavens, permanently fixed in place, while the rest of the cosmos continues its endless rotation. The North Star stands as a cosmic record of transmuting pain into power. It proves that when deep humiliation is channeled into quiet, unyielding self-belief, one person can become the steadfast anchor for everyone else.